So even though this card is stacking up to look really, really good, there does feel like there's something missing. Let's get into our Survivor Series WarGames 2023 predictions. So I'm going to start off with the elephant in the room, which is this pay-per-view is in Chicago. And Chicago generally means that we're going to get a lot of CM Punk rumors coming in. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm pretty biased when it comes to this. I don't really think that the industry needs CM Punk anymore. I mean, we have so much new talent on WWE, AEW. There's so many incredible people in Japan. I just feel like there really isn't a space for him in any promotion right now. So, yeah, I'm on the side of the industry doesn't really need CM Punk anymore, especially when he is so controversial and people talk about him a lot, but for the wrong reasons. So, I don't know. Personally, I don't feel like he needs to come back, but that's just my opinion. So, yeah, I mean, from from a promotion point of view, you do understand why you would want him on your product, on TV, on a pay-per-view. When Cult of Personality comes on, you immediately know that CM Punk is coming out. And to be honest, he has this presence about him. He has this way of controlling an audience and controlling a room that we haven't seen probably since like The Rock, and that's why his promos with Cena was so revolutionary back in the early 2000s, because if there were two people in a ring that could ever make a huge impact and just control the room just with their presence alone, and then even further with their promo skills, it's probably Punk and Cena. But I don't think we need that anymore. I mean, we've got someone like Cody Rhodes who has that kind of magnetism within him, you know? Like I said, I don't really know if we need CM Punk, but I can understand why a promotion would want to have him on their card, in their shows, on their pay-per-views. Personally, it's in Chicago. I don't see CM Punk coming back anytime soon, but you know what? If he does, I understand. Like I said, I am on the side of like, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, where they're like, yeah, we don't really need him anymore. That is another thing, is that those are your two top champions right now. Do you really want to upset them with CM Punk coming back? Because we all know they kind of have some real life beef with CM Punk, or just, I wouldn't really call it real life beef. I think I would rather call it like there's a bit of animosity going on over there. So, yeah. Do you really want CM Punk back in WWE? You can let me know down in the comments. Personally, you've heard my standpoint on it though. Okay, let's get into some matches, and I'm starting off with Santos Escobar versus Carlito. Santos had the perfect heel turn, to be honest. I think that it was really, really great the way that they did it. Also, it gave Ray some time to go out, and now we know that he needed surgery, so we're all hoping for Rey Mysterio to recover really quickly so that we can see how this feud turns out. I do really love this heel turn though, because if you look at it, Santos is incredible as a heel. I'm so glad that he's a heel again. I don't really know how I feel about Carlito taking up the reins in the LWO though. I mean, I think that this is actually just going to lead to Santos probably going through the LWO and just going through every single member. Hell, I think he could even have a match with Bad Bunny that would be pretty decent. But I think that we're going to have Santos go through every single member. Hopefully, it will lead to Legado del Fantasma reforming, Wild and Del Toro going back with Santos. They were so much better as a heel faction, and it feels like as part of the LWO, they haven't given Del Toro and Wild some time to shine, which is what they really deserve. I think this is going to be a pretty decent match, but I do think that considering the rest of the card, this is probably going to be like a cool down match right before the men's WarGames match, or a bit of a cool down after the women's WarGames match. I don't know, it just feels like this is so out of place because there are so many big ticket matches in here. So I also hope that they get a bit more time because it is also a 5-match card. So everyone should get a lot of time to shine in this pay-per-view. I think Santos Escobar is beating Carlito. Moving on to some title matches now, we have Rhea Ripley and Zoey Stark for the Women's World Championship. Okay, now I don't know. It feels like even though there's so many people on this roster, they haven't really built up a really good baby face. I mean, they've teased Shayna versus Rhea, which I really want to see because they had a really good match down in NXT. But I don't know. It feels like Zoe Stark hasn't hit the level that Rhea Ripley is at yet, you know? We need like a really, really good, really big baby face to face off against Rhea because she's the top heel at the moment, probably in both rosters at the moment. Judgment Day is probably the biggest thing right now. And we need Rhea to go up against really big baby faces. They did tease Bianca Belair at one point, but now she's on SmackDown, so we're not going to see that anytime soon. They also teased Becky Lynch, which I think will be a really good match, but do you really want either of those women losing? It would be really interesting to see Rhea just face off against a top babyface because it feels like that's really lacking right now. It feels like she doesn't have any competitors where it's like, wow, I think that there's a chance that they can beat Rhea. I do think that she's keeping the title probably till around WrestleMania 40. So, yeah, I think that Rhea's definitely winning this match. And maybe we'll go on to see Becky versus Rhea or a return from Liv Morgan because they were tag team partners at one point. So that's pretty interesting as well. But I do want them to start building up Shayna Baszler so that we can see Shayna versus Rhea at Mania because that would be absolutely awesome. So, yeah, my prediction for this match is Rhea's going to win this match. So now we're moving on to Gunther versus The Miz. So this match is really interesting to me because I really, really like The Miz as a face right now. I think that he's doing so well as a baby face. And I never thought that I'd say that in 2023 because it felt like The Miz was pretty much going to be a heel for the rest of his career. And, and I don't think The Miz gets enough credit for how naturally he got over as a babyface. I mean, he had one really good promo segment with Gunther and people started cheering him like crazy. In general, though, I don't think The Miz gets enough credit because he's pretty much carried the mid-card division since the early 2000s and he really did elevate the IC title at one point. So I don't think he gets enough credit for that. But yeah, I think this is one of the best versions we've seen of The Miz in a really, really long time. And he's going up against Gunther, which is really interesting because we've pretty much got like a heavy hitting brawler up against The Miz, who's known as the king of soft style. So it's going to be a real clash of styles as well. At least we know no one will get injured in that match. And yeah, I really think that The Miz is going to have a really good showing in this match. I never thought that I'd be really interested and really invested in a match with The Miz in 2023, but he's done so well. I'm really excited for this match. So, yeah, I don't think The Miz is winning. By all means, I don't think The Miz is winning. I actually want Gunther to go on with the IC title and beat Roman Reigns' 1,000-day streak. Yeah, and I think Gunther needs to go on and just have a really good title reign for like the next 2 years. I was actually thinking about it the other day, and I think that I'm gonna be pretty disappointed if it's not Chad Gable who takes the IC title from Gunther, or possibly Ilya Dragunov. Both Dragunov and Gunther shouldn't be in the mid card at all. Like, I do think it's a step down from having epic matches in NXT UK and then having them both in NXT as dominant forces, with Ilya Dragunov is currently the NXT champion. And it does feel like a bit of a step down, but it feels like such an elevation for the IC title if we were to have a match between Ilya Dragunov and Gunther. Ilya Dragunov is also the person that defeated Gunther when he had his really long title reign in NXT UK with the NXT UK Championship. So it would be a bit poetic for Dragunov to take the IC title from Gunther. But like I said, I don't think Gunther should lose the title anytime soon. I just think it would be really great for either Dragunov or Gable to take it. Gunther's winning this match. I don't think there's any chance of The Miz actually beating Gunther. Let's move on to the women's War Games match. And I genuinely have a bone to pick with the way like any team matches are being formed these days. So a very big thing for me that I don't like is mixed match teams. And this is also the problem that I have going into something like War Games and Survivor Series, because it's always like a really, really, really good heel faction. And then you just get your biggest baby faces smushing together in a team and expect us to support them. Like, for example, Bianca Belair, Shotzi, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch. In no way, shape, or form does that make sense. You know, they've got that whole can they coexist thing. I don't really care about that can they coexist thing. That doesn't make an interesting story. What would have been really nice is if they just like naturally formed together. Whereas now it's kind of like, okay, we're just the baby faces who don't like damage control. It's always this thing of we have a common enemy, so we have to come together. Whereas you can build up a really, really nice faction. You can build up a face faction to face them, you know? And you could have done this long term. I mean, there's so many women in the women's division that aren't being utilized. That's the whole reason that Bayley formed damage control in the first place, you know? So that's the bone I have to pick pretty much every single time we have War Games or a traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series match, because even when it was brand warfare, it was the most mismatched team you could ever find. But now we're actually building really good factions. I mean, we have the LWO, which is a face faction, but you haven't built them up to actually rise to the occasion to face someone like Judgment Day. Anyway, that's the bone I have to pick. But I do think that this is the best version of damage control that we've seen so far. And I think that this is the version of damage control that Bayley initially wanted, where it was 5 underutilized women that come together that can actually be a really, really good female faction, because we haven't really seen that before in the WWE. So, okay, so I know that you guys are going to say, yeah, but we had the women's revolution and they had like these little factions and stuff. It wasn't that good, okay? Compared to what we have now with damage control, it wasn't that good. But yeah, I think that damage control can really take over the women's division if they get what they're getting now, which is time, which is relevance, which is, you know, actual time on TV to get over, which is what everyone actually needs. I mean, they just need time on TV or in front of a crowd to get over. And when you don't have that, you really can't complain that people aren't being liked or disliked by a crowd, because the crowd haven't seen them. So yeah, it's just that's really the one thing that I like about damage control, and what I like about what Becky's doing at the moment is that they're giving more people time to shine. So yeah, I think damage control is really, really good at the moment, and I want them to win this match. I know that we're going to see some really interesting spots. I know that we're going to see probably moonsaults off the cage from multiple people. We're going to see a leg drop from Becky, possibly. Um, Bayley could do an elbow drop. There's so many things and so many ways that they can use this cage that's going to be really, really awesome. So yeah, because it's a War Games match, we're definitely going to get time, and I think it's going to be a really good match. The only thing I don't like is that 90% of the participants were in War Games last year. So Damage Control were in War Games last year, and Becky and Bianca were. So it isn't necessarily too many new people, but I really do like that they've kind of put a new spin on it, because this is Damage Control as a whole. Whereas last year it was just Damage Control with 2 other heels trying to face baby faces. So yeah, it's really nice to see one unit as Damage Control. I think the only thing that's going to maybe cause some tension within Damage Control is Io the leader or is Bayley the leader? Because it feels like Io's constantly making these decisions that maybe Bayley doesn't know about or doesn't agree with. and then she kind of just has to go with it because of the way she finds out. It's also funny that now it feels like Dakota Kai is kind of like Io's Japanese translator, which is quite cool. And it's also nice that they have the faction because Dakota Kai is injured right now, but they've still given her a spot on the team. She's still on TV and she's still doing really cool things. So yeah, I'm genuinely happy with Damage Control right now, and I think they need this one. I think Damage Control needs to win this match, and they need to go on to be a really dominant force in the women's division. So I'm going with Damage Control to win this match. And finally, the men's War Games match. Now, I do have the same bone to pick here because we've literally seen the same baby faces for the last 6 months fighting against the Judgment Day. Like, I feel like Raw just needs an overhaul and a refresh in terms of like who's fighting who, because this feud has been going on for way too long. I mean, yes, they swap out people here and there because now Seth is in this mix, and before there was Kevin Owens and Jey Uso's now here, but I'm pretty sure at one point they were fighting Matt Riddle. So, yeah, there's been some swaps here and there, but it feels like Sami Zayn just moved on from the bloodline to doing the exact same thing when fighting the Judgment Day. That's how it feels, and it's starting to get a little bit boring. So yeah, we need some new faces on Raw in the main event scene. So currently the team for War Games is Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and a returning Randy Orton. So firstly, there's gotta be something better that you can do with Cody Rhodes than just constantly fighting the Judgment Day. I do know that you want to keep him like doing things, but also not doing anything too serious so that you can just insert him back into Roman Reigns' storyline all the time. But yeah, it's just, there's got to be something better for Cody Rhodes to do. It just, I don't know, like, it feels kind of off, you know, like, it feels like there's something missing. And I think it's just because there's no Roman Reigns on this card. And there's also no United States title because that's with Logan Paul. It's also funny to me because for so long, I mean, Randy Orton's been gone for 2 years. And for the last 6 months to 8 months, people have been saying Randy Orton needs to retire and he's never coming back because this is a really serious injury. Yet he comes back and you put him into probably the most dangerous match we have in the WWE at the moment, which is War Games. So I do find that pretty funny that that's what they decided to do and that's how they decided to bring him back. But I do think that Randy Orton can add a bit of something different to this match. Also because we know that the RKO is a huge spot and there's so many ways to transition into an RKO now. So we're probably going to see Dominik Mysterio frog splash into an RKO. We could see Randy Orton just come in and RKO everybody. We could see Rhea Ripley try and interfere in this match and get an RKO from Randy Orton. So yeah, I think that that's going to be it's going to be a really, really fun match. And seeing Randy Orton come back is going to be awesome because I know that there are millions of people out there that just really love Randy Orton, including myself. Another big thing for this match, I think, is the Money in the Bank briefcase. So firstly, can Judgment Day trust Drew McIntyre to not interfere if Damian Priest decides to cash in? Because I don't think that the main target for Judgment Day right now is to win this match. I think their main goal is to actually just beat up the faces enough and wear down Seth Rollins enough that Damian Priest can cash in after War Games. So whether they win the match or not, I think Damian Priest is actually walking out as champion because this would be the perfect time to do it. There's no numbers game that they need to worry about because everyone they need to worry about is in that cage. And you can use as many weapons as you want, so it's the perfect place to wear down the champion so that you can cash in. So, like I said, can they trust Drew McIntyre to let Damian Priest cash in? Probably not. I mean, Drew McIntyre isn't part of the Judgment Day. Drew McIntyre is just looking out for Drew McIntyre. But then again, because he's not part of the Judgment Day, it's pretty easy for them to turn on him. Although it looks like Rhea Ripley's pretty buddy with Drew McIntyre as well, so maybe she won't let them turn on him. There's also that little matter where Rhea said Damian's the leader going into WarGames. So is Rhea actually going to let Damian be the leader for WarGames? Is the rest of Judgment Day going to let him? Who knows? Anyway, I don't think their main goal is actually to win this match. I think it's just to wear down the baby faces. And do you really want to let Cody Rhodes lose in the match that his dad made? So yeah, I'm actually going to say that the faces win this match. So Team Cody wins this match. Then Judgment Day take out Team Cody after the match. Damian Priest cashes in. And then we have a new World Heavyweight Champion. So my prediction is Team Cody wins, but Damian Priest walks out as World Heavyweight Champion. And then we also have the little matter of Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes with all of their legacy and history. And I have a feeling that this is what I've been waiting for, a really good storyline for Cody going into Royal Rumble. And I think that Randy Orton should actually turn on Cody Rhodes after this match. So we see the return of the apex predator, the legend killer, Randy Orton. He turns on Cody, and then we have Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton leading up to the Royal Rumble. And then somehow between Rumble and Mania, you end that feud and then insert Cody into the Roman Reigns storyline so that he can finally finish the story, because he needs to finish it. But yeah, it's just, like I said, it feels like this card is missing something. It feels like it's missing a big marquee title match, you know? And usually when it's brand warfare, the match that we look forward to the most is the World Heavyweight Champion / Universal Champion / whatever title there is at the time versus the WWE Champion. And unfortunately, like, we're not getting Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, which is the match that I really, really wanted to see. And I actually thought that there was a chance we're getting brand warfare when they brought general managers back. But I don't know. Maybe this means that we'll get bragging rights back, which was also a really, really awesome pay-per-view. Maybe it is also just me missing the nostalgia effect of having a 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series match, because that is one of my favorite matches of all time. And yeah, maybe it's just me missing that traditional 5-on-5 match. You know, I think WarGames is also pretty cool too, and it does feel like it has just as higher stakes as the 5-on-5 match does. Anyway, those are just my predictions. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a huge thumbs up and share it with your friends. And as always, be mindful and be kind.